Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Wherever you are on the big planet Earth that we're on, and to anyone who's watching who's not on Earth and is wondering what's going on down here, amongst us 7 billion people that are on the planet. Now, some of us in that 7 billion pretty well switched on. Others are not quite switched on and need help. And that's half the reason we have a chat on a Monday night, is to try and help people. Now, there's only myself and tonight, Claudia and Bill. Paul, my regular co-host, can't make it tonight. He's got a couple of family issues, which he's got to take care of, which is what you've got to do, family first. So we're going to try and help some people tonight by giving them some information. And there's a lot of people out there. There's 7 billion, as I said, on the planet. Probably 20, 30, maybe 40 million people actually exposed to Bitcoin behind me and the other altcoins and have some sort of understanding of what it is, but the majority of people have got no clue still. We're in the very, very early stages of what we're doing, and that's cryptocurrency. But we're in the mining side, the computer power contract side, which is a very, very exciting part of cryptocurrency. And to go through that and talk about what's going on in the whole stratosphere of cryptocurrency, we've got our #1 affiliate, our presidential and ambassador, of course, Claudia Eifert, who's made her way all the way back to Germany from halfway around the world in Panama. So it's great to have you back, Claudia. How are things with you since you come back? When did you get back to Germany?
Hi, Kitty. Well, it's actually great to be in Europe back because, you know, now the good weather starts. So the winter is behind us. So it's always nice to come back when, you know, the spring is there and you can do those nice bike rides.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty happy. Things are good. I arrived back Monday, so still adapting on the new time zone, but all is good. So it will be a great few months ahead. I know we're gonna have a lot of tours and traveling all around through the other side of the planet.
That's right. We can't leave Europe alone for too long. You've taken care of South America and the US. You've been there, so it comes to Europe's turn to get your information overload that you give people. Just tons and tons of information week after week, face to face, which you can't beat that. And I want to talk about that in a minute. But it's always great to have our own on, Bill. You're in Zurich, so you've been back there from your travels as well. Appreciate your time coming on tonight, Bill. Got a couple of things to talk about. So your exploits down there in Dubai was pretty exciting. What we talked about last week. Has there been any sort of feedback you've got from people of the experience you had in Dubai last week? Did that sort of go as planned for the people you met with and the information you gathered? Was it a successful as far as you're concerned?
Yeah, hi Keithy, hi Claudia. Welcome to everyone joining us on this weekly call. Yes, it was a great event, Keithy, and one thing I know for sure is there's a huge demand for ICOs and we need to get it out. But I also know one thing I did learn very clearly, that we have to also do it right. I mean, that, you know, it clearly came out in some of the events I went to that probably 95 plus ICOs that go out are not really worth anything. And even last year in 2017, I think 2017, there was about $6 billion raised for ICOs, and already more than half of those have failed, which means people have lost their money. So $3 billion has failed out of people's pockets, but failed into the people's hands that initiated the ICOs, in one respect, if you know where I'm going with this. So yes, we all want to have this very quick. We want to have this you know, launch, you know, much faster than what we'd like, but we also, you know, we also have a huge responsibility when we take money from people, and we don't treat this lightly. Now, I'm aware that many ICOs launch and this and that, but when you see the statistics from 2017 that already, and it's only the month of April, mind you, already more than half of them have failed, and that represents $3 billion in revenues. It makes you to be cautious as well. And you as an investor, where you're going to put your hard-earned labor and money into something, you need to do your due diligence. Ask the questions. Don't rush in because someone says you're going to make a quick buck. That's the fastest way to lose a quick buck, to be quite honest. It's a transfer of wealth from your pocket to someone else's. So we're very aware of that, Keithy. And I know Claudia researches ICOs all the time. She has a lot of knowledge in this area. But we're moving forward. We're moving forward very, very strongly and confidently in this area. But, you know, regulatory-wise, it's a changing environment as well. So we need to get many things lined up before we pull the trigger on it. But everything's coming together nicely. And I think in the next 6 to 8 weeks, we're going to see some nice things start to transition there. Hopefully the next 6 to 8 weeks, which isn't far away. I mean, that really puts us into the second half of the year, which is incredible, to be quite honest. I mean, Christmas just seems yesterday.
Yeah, well, you've hit the nail on the head. There's a lot of T's to be crossed and I's to be dotted as far as putting any new product or service out to the market. And it's good that you're on top of things and you're keeping us up to date as well, mate, because most of the members obviously haven't been in the situation of actually running a massive business like you have for 10 years, and the experience and the contacts and the expertise, not only from yourself, but also the people around you, the team that you have running Swiss Gold Global successfully. Hopefully the members don't underestimate how important it is to have all these plans and procedures in place before you actually launch anything. Because, as you say, cryptocurrency, the environment is changing on a daily or a weekly basis. From, you know, with our association with Genesis, I'll touch on that for a second just to bring members up to date. Obviously, the price right now is, of Bitcoin, as I look at coincap.io, is 9,174 US. It's peaked in the last 24 hours up to 9,300. Which is a little bit higher than it was last week. So we've had a steady sort of growth and sort of hovering around the 9,293, which is really good for our returns. They've just gone up slightly. Unfortunately, the difficulty rate went up on Friday, about 3 days ago. That jumped a little bit, the difficulty rate. And the available supply of Bitcoins has gone over the 17 million mark. It's 17,006,112 as of today, about 1,800 at the moment. So as I saw one article today, there's only 4 million Bitcoins left to be mined, but that's going to take another 100 years. So it's going to slowly produce those as the formula 1,800 a day, 900 a day, 450 a day carries on into the years from now. So our returns are certainly coming in. I spoke to Claudia before that I'm getting paid every day. There's absolutely no problem. Bang, bang, bang. I get an email. It's normally about 2 a.m. for me. So as soon as I get up in the morning, I check my emails. And yes, sure enough, it's there. And I've been paid from Swiss Gold Global every day, which is fantastic. So there's stability there for me that I'm getting paid with those contracts that I have. And we have still available contracts. So I've been buying 1 or 2 more to top up. And I'm growing my terahash steadily. And because, you know, I haven't even been in the company a year yet, Bill, it's only coming up to 11 months now. It's not even a year. It's seems like about 5 years, but it's not even been 1 year. But everything's changed rapidly from when I first started. We've been through some ups and downs, but mostly I would say 75% of my experience in the last close to a year now has been an upward trend. There's been dips, there's been highs, and then we've come down a little bit, but the climb is up there again. But the knowledge that I've gained from yourself, Claudia, and all the other leaders has been fantastic. So just to you, Bill, the growth of Bitcoin is sort of steady at the moment. I know it's in the next 6 months, as you say, we're almost halfway there. It's the 30th of April today, so it's May the 1st for me. Well, it's the 30th for you guys as well. Tomorrow's the 5th month, so we're very close to half year gone in a flash. So I reckon this next 6 months will grow quite rapidly for Bitcoin, I believe, and the price will go 10 or 12 or 13, 14,000, which will be really good, stable returns for our mining contracts. They're a little over a year for the return of a contract now, but I believe that'll come back to where we were about a year ago, about 10 or 11 months, I believe. It'll be somewhere around there, which is still a fantastic return for a contract. Have you got indications from Genesis, maybe in the last 7 days, or any information that's flowing from them about what's going on in the market? You got any general overview that you can share with us?
Well, it's just, I mean, you covered many points in your summary there, Keithy. I mean, increased difficulty rate means increased adoption in one sense. And we've also seen a bit of an increased spike in price as well. I mean, it's hitting quite a resistant level right now. But I mean, for traders, they watch this all the time. I don't really watch it. I'm just there for the long haul. I just want to own Bitcoins on the long term. But I was just looking, many of you would be familiar with John McAfee, McAfee Security Systems, and he has what he calls a dick curve. I won't go into exactly what that means, but many of you would understand what that actually means, given the bet that he's made. But he's predicting by 2020 that Bitcoin price may be around 42, 43,000. I've just put up the link there to the Twitter chat to his dick curve, and if he's wrong, the consequences of that on his bet is pretty horrendous. Primarily, he said Bitcoin price is not at this particular price. He's going to cut his penis off. So let's hope he's right and he's not wrong. In that sense, that whether he is right or wrong, I really don't know. But he's a smart man. He's heavily engaged in ICOs. He's heavily engaged in mining as well. I mean, he's a techie guy, so he's no fool. Will it go there? None of us really know, but I've posted that up there for people to have a look at. But again, I have a long-term view on pricing as the greater adoption. We just saw in the US for the Securities Commission there, the chairman of the Securities Commission say that Bitcoin is not a security, which is fantastic. It's a currency. That's a big game changer in one sense. I mean, as many people know, in one state we had a cease and desist order to stop operating in the state of South Carolina because they believe it's a security mining. But on the other side, you have the chairman of the SEC coming out and saying Bitcoin is not a security. So you can see there's lots of conflicting views and things, but it's trending in the right way. I mean, this is really new industry. You just go back, I mean, I can certainly remember back in the early 80s when it came to internet and the early 90s, more so probably the 90s in Australia, I had no understanding of it, but how it evolved is really quite amazing. I wish I had been more involved in the internet back at that particular time and some of the companies at that particular time because I didn't have any understanding. I kept away from it. Well, this is where we really are now in the cryptocurrency space. There's a lot of conflicting information. One thing is for sure, Bitcoin is a currency. It's traded legally in the United States as a commodity. And even though it is volatile, even though nothing is guaranteed towards it, governments are starting to appear to be opening up the doors and becoming more friendly to it because they realize they can't stop it in one respect. They can regulate on the exchange levels and different things. I mean, in the end, they want to get paid their taxes, which I understand, of course, and that's probably one of the major plays for it. But we're very positive when it comes to the Bitcoin as a long-term and Ethereum as well as a long-term project. With that said, nothing is guaranteed. This is not financial advice. This is not investment advice. You've got to use your brains. You've got to use common sense, and you have to manage your risk. But I think it's really important to be engaged in this. I mean, you spoke about the returns before, Keithy. I mean, really, it's getting up to 55, 60% return. If you bought a 1 terahash contract, $179, you're going to get more than $100 back in your first year. I mean, where else do you get that sort of return? I mean, go to the bank in Australia, you're going to wait 25 years to get your money back on your $179. If you go to the US or Europe, you're probably going to wait 100 years at 1% return on your money, less than 1% actually. In fact, I was in Dubai last week unexpectedly because I had to go back there for some issues that raised in banking. And I asked them, okay, what's your deposit rate? And they said 0.25%. Okay, so you're telling me it's nothing. Primarily, it is nothing. And so that, of course, they looked at me because I was pretty direct. But that is nothing. I mean, it's just a bit of a joke, actually. I mean, your money's going backwards. Why would you do it? So the point there is that, having cash in the bank is probably the worst place to have it, even though we do need to have some there. If you're talking about investments now, this is just my personal opinion. But you need to diversify into different things. You need wealth preservation. That's why I like a little bit of gold and silver. Not too much, but it's good there. It's liquid. Good to have some of that. And it preserves your wealth. good to have some Bitcoin mining. Why not? It gives you a great return, but you don't put all your eggs, you don't sell your house and put that into Bitcoin mining. That would be a silly thing to do. So you need to think about what you do. You need to have a strategy about it, but it's a fantastic thing to be in. And manage your risk. Don't let the greed emotion kick in and let you make foolish decisions. And I think this has pretty much been my tone throughout all our mining, since we've been mining since 2016. But we're very excited. On the Genesis side, we communicated that we must catch up. But I'm heading back to Dubai this weekend, and I've got some pretty important meetings there. And the US on the mining side, that's still moving forward, but there's locking down power supply, sustainability, and those types of things takes time. But our key focus right now actually is, of course, our ICO and our token, which we think will greatly benefit our members. But as I said earlier on, if you see that more than half of the ICOs in 2017 have already failed, that means a damn lot of people have lost all their money. Okay, we don't want you to be one of those. Swiss Gold Global has always been about people building prosperity, building wealth, gaining knowledge, and we don't want to plug you into something so we can earn some quick bucks and you guys lose your dough. That's not our modus operandi. But with that said, it is a volatile market and we have to do things right. That doesn't mean we're perfect and we'll get it right, but we're doing our best on that. We just want people to know that you need to think before you invest into anything, to be quite honest, in today's market. Yeah.
That's very true. I think people nowadays, Bill, they're in a rush, they're in a hurry. Finally, in this, since 2000, I guess, it's 2018, the last 18 years since that millennium change, people have decided that I've got to change my circumstance as fast as I possibly can. And they're looking for the fast ways to change everything. Especially in the last 3, 4, 5 years, I've noticed that now people are looking to the internet as a savior to help me. Their ability to find a job that pays well or find a career that they can advance in a quick, fast mode and not be overworked, which happens to a lot of people. They start off in a 40-hour week position. If you're paid an hourly rate, that's not too bad. But once you go into a salaried position, which I've been in, I was in recruitment for a number of years. And even though you're paid a salary, the expectation to do your job extends well past 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours, working on a Saturday, going into the office on a Sunday to complete your reports. All of a sudden, you're doing 60 to 70 hours for the same money as they were quoting you for a 40-hour per week salaried position. But the expectation of management on you as an employee is to get the job done. Otherwise, they would look for someone who would get the job done. So the pressure was on you. So you had to put in your own time to complete the work of the company with no real benefit to yourself, except of completing the tasks that they've given you. And the load that was given to you was just added and added and added. So people, I believe, in the last, especially 5 years, have looked to the internet to be a savior and have heard the stories of people getting rich overnight very quickly and expect to see that through all different industries. And it's good that you bring us down to earth, that we can't rush into these things. They've got to be planned. 50% of all ICOs have failed last year. A lot of people have put money in, obviously, that just crashed and burned, bought at 50 cents, and then they've gone down to 5 cents, and that's it, their money's gone. Now, flowing directly onto that, got a couple of questions. Connie, who's in the Netherlands. G'day, Connie, and g'day, Billy, how you going? SM Hodder as well. Oh, that's Steve Hodder, isn't it? Steve Hodder. Connie says, what's the forecast for gold and silver, Bill? Is it going to go up or down? Because if people do have spare cash, but not everyone has, as we've spoken about before, have spare cash, they're putting it into gold and silver. Are you expecting, as a gold trader, things to just come along in line with Bitcoin? As Bitcoin climbs slowly, will gold and silver be dragged up with it, or is it sort of an independent flow of wealth going in there will determine if gold and silver takes off in no relation to Bitcoin at all, Bill? What's your thoughts? Well,
gold's very much, it's a great question, actually. gold is very much is connected to the geopolitical situation. And I must say it's absolutely fantastic to see North and South Korea speaking. I mean, that's really nice to see that It's better to sing and communicate than swing at each other in one respect. So that's toned down a little bit, but the long-term forecasts, for countries, I mean, if you just look at the reports regarding, let's say, the US debt levels, 20 trillion plus, and you see what the IMF and the Federal Reserve came out about 10 days ago and said that, the US is trending towards being, by 2025, to be a third world country, infrastructure like Africa. It's a pretty major statement to the biggest player in the world, but of course it is dead written, and this is why we're seeing, of course, trade wars. And I saw Mr. Trump attacked EU. He said EU was designed to actually to attack really the economy or the trade of America. So there's going to be a lot of conflicting areas going on there between China, of course, the big major trading partners, of course, the US, of course, and the usual stuff. This certainly affects gold price, but gold price is also suppressed significantly as well through, of course, the futures exchange, where they don't actually have to exchange physical metal, just like they're doing the Bitcoin now at the CBOE, and they can keep the price level. The bullion banks can keep it in a pretty much range. But I think long term, I'm no expert in this field, but the people I listen to, and the smart people, some of the smart money, even hedge funds, are putting a part of their money into holding a bit of gold and silver long view. I think, many of the, when things run, I mean, when it ran in the last cycle, I mean, I think gold went up 25 times the price, and I think silver went up 36 times in price. I'm talking about from 1972 when they actually removed the locking of the price from $35 an ounce and removed the fixing to the US dollar. So I like to buy silver. I also like to buy some gold as well, but I have a really long-term view on this, 3 to 5 years type thing. But the great thing is about it, if you had $1,000 under your bed, let's say in your bungalow in Brisbane, and you put $1,000 worth of gold or $10,000 worth of gold, the equivalent in cash, how much is that cash going to buy you in 10 years' time? How much is that gold going to buy you in 10 years' time? That's how I look at it. I look at gold as an insurance policy. I don't look at it as an investment. Silver, I look more of an investment type strategy. But personally, I think long term, it's good to have a bit of it. I certainly buy it and hold both. I know Claudia does as well. And even the experts might say, maybe it's maybe 10% of your cash holdings you could have in precious metals. This is what Carolina Oliveras also touched on last week's call of Money Matters as well. In today's markets, which are quite volatile, even our equity markets and things, people, a lot of the money, smart money, is going back to safe havens, which is traditionally is gold and other instruments as well. So to answer the question from Connie in wonderful Amsterdam, or in that region of the world, which I like very much, yes, I think the price of gold moving forward is going to increase. It'll be volatile as well, but the trend will be up, I think, over the next year to 18 months. I mean, I was talking to last weekend. I always have dinner with a banker, 16 years a gold banker in Dubai when I'm there, and I was asking him about price, and he believes, it's going to maybe finish maybe 10% up where it is from maybe where it is now by the end of this particular year. But for me, that doesn't particularly worry me, of course, as I'm not looking at liquidating. I'm looking at holding this longer term. So it really depends on people's positions. But that's why, again, when I was first introduced to precious metals in 2003 by Philip Judge, who I'll be meeting in Dubai again this weekend, he told me that, that the financially elite, rulers of empires and royalty, always put maybe, part of their wealth, their cash wealth, into physical gold. And he said back then it was about 3%. Now today, given the circumstances of the financial environment, it could be 5 to 10%. Again, it's a personal thing what you actually want. The important thing is to have a process where you can liquidate it when needed and be converted back to cash. I think that's really important as well.
Yeah, that's correct, mate. Yeah, hopefully that's right. Connie's just asked me about the price going up and down. You're right about the being suppressed. You've told that story many times, and it's very, very true. But if you are in the position to put a little bit of what you're earning into gold and silver as a stored wealth, building generational wealth, that's a tagline up there. It's very, very good. want to throw to Claudia and ask, especially just gold and silver, you've just spent a lot of time in South America. Now you're back in Europe. What's the feeling between the two different areas? What are people in South America focused on? Are they focused on putting a little bit of money into gold and silver, or are they, and that sort of situation down there, or are they looking just to build wealth straight away through cryptocurrencies and ICOs, then start secondary gold and silver compared to Europe? Is that a different way around the two different areas of the world?
Hi, Kitty. Well, it really depends a little bit. I mean, if you talk, of course, Argentina, and we talk, you know, Argentina had the Corralijo, which, of course, was huge. I mean, their monetary system in Argentina is a very big economy, as well as, of course, the Brazilian economy, and, of course, Venezuela was at one stage, I mean, was a very wealthy country. So they know gold. They understand gold. For them, it's just, it's a no-brainer. For them, gold very often in their past and in their presence actually did buy them their freedom, did buy them their goods and services and so on. I mean, in fact, if you have gold now in Venezuela, obviously, then you can eat. If you have Bitcoin, you can eat. If you don't have that, well, then you cannot eat. Basically, you're starving to death. That's the real cruel fact. But no, of course, I mean, they're interested as, I mean, you know, depending where in Latin America, you have a lot of course, it's still third world countries. So you have a lot of uneducated people who are just basically believing in the lie of the United States dollars and all this stuff. But then you have a lot of very smart and very bright people there. And of course, lots of people are looking to survive. I mean, things have gone through the roof in terms of pricing, in terms of if you're an average, whatever, Panamanian, let's say, because this is where the place I stayed, you know, your salary has gone a little bit up. Your average salary to the last, whatever, 10 years, $600, but they can't really afford anymore to live there because the cost of living has gotten up so much. The daily food, milk, butter, I mean, not that they use a lot of butter, but the daily consumer goods have gotten up. So they're looking for income opportunities. They certainly are all keen about Bitcoin. Venezuelan people are more educated, but I met a lot of uneducated people, and they would just invest whatever they had. And if they have, you know, lots of them have foreign accounts because, you know, there was a time, once upon a time where the economy was good. And they had, of course, you know, dollar accounts and so on. And so they would, I met lots of people, they would just buy mining equipment or buy into cloud mining or buy into anything like that without having no idea, not even a Bitcoin wallet. Why? Because they have heard from somebody who has said something about that this will give them an income. So they're looking, I can tell you that they're looking, they're looking for opportunities. And that's why, you know, my strategy is more so, what I think is, look, the gold and the silver is a safe haven. You've got to make it like your habit. It has to become a habit that every month you put a little bit of money aside into gold and silver. It's just a habit. It's just your financial muscle to say. You just put something aside into that. But you make the income, of course, through the cryptocurrency mining rewards and from building the team, from networking, and that's why I see it a little bit different. Some people say, oh, I don't want to really talk to other people. Oh, I don't really want to do that. Oh, I don't really. But why? You know, we basically, what we do is, once we gain knowledge, why not share that knowledge with other people? And why not get rewarded for sharing that knowledge with other people? So it's really about, if you could, you know, if you have the chance to build a network, to chat to people, to talk to people, to help them get started. And that means really help. Again, I talked often about that. It doesn't mean like you just join them in and then you set up an autoresponder and the autoresponder is going to, forget it, it doesn't work, it will not work. It will never work, my opinion. Anyway, but if you do that and you build the network, well, you're going to have income stream. What can you do with that? You can buy more gold and silver and more cryptocurrency contracts, which will pay you daily.
Very true. Very true. That's it comes down to how bad you want it and how motivated, how focused, as you keep saying, how focused you are, which is your favorite words. Fantastic. That's right. So we've got everything here at Swiss Gold Global. We're adding the ICOs. I want to touch on that quickly, Bill. We've had gold and silver since 2008. We introduced cryptocurrency in 2016. Now in 2018, you're introducing an ICO and a token. And you did allude very quickly to either the ICO, I think it's the token. There possibly is an opportunity to earn some sort of reward or income off that token. Did I hear you say that last time? Very, very, not too much detail, but you did give some mention of that, Bill.
Well, you've got to ask the question, what's the point of a token? I mean, there's so many things out there already, isn't there? So if you're going to bring something to the world, there's got to be a benefit in it, doesn't there, for the people? It has to be a utility, it has to be a service, has to be a reward associated with it, has to have assets associated with it. So, yeah, the idea is that, you know, as the value of these assets increase, which are associated to this particular token, the value of the token will actually increase. But I can't go into that into too much detail, but for sure. I mean, really, look at the number of ICOs out there, look at the number of cryptocurrencies out there. Does the world really need another coin? You know, I really question that. Does it really need another token in one sense? So, you know, I mean, a lot of huge money is flying into this particular area. So as it's a hot sector, as business people, we want to be engaged in a hot sector, don't we? You want to be engaged in the hot sector because you can make some money, you can make some return on it. We certainly want to get engaged and bridge the gap, make that available for our members to add more value to what we currently have. So it's a natural progression of what we are. I mean, we've actually evolved from gold and silver, which is money for 5,000 years. It's a solid wealth preservation, proven. Central banks own it. Central banks are still buying it, certainly in Russia and places like China, increasing their holdings significantly. So we want to be part of that as well. We make that available. We merged into, of course, cryptocurrency, one of the fastest growing sectors, if not the fastest growing sector in history in one sense. It's been really incredible what's happened. And if you just look at the John McAfee dick curve in one sense, if you excuse my expression, you know, at $42,000, $43,000, he's estimating. Well, when you see the price where it is right now at 9,000, and it touched on just below 20,000 on the 18th of December last year, you know, $40,000 doesn't seem that far away, to be quite honest. It's and when you go back to and you and I, similar age, Keithy, go back to the dot-com boom of the 1990s. You remember pricing and different things like that. You know, even some of these stocks which I invested in, because I had no understanding of them. But I was in there for the quick earn, which I see people doing today. I made a lot of mistakes. I lost a lot of money because of that mindset. But these shares made multiple times, 10, 15, 20 times sometimes, you know. Some of them weren't sustainable. Bitcoin, I believe, is very, very different. You know, it's a very, very different. It's a currency in one sense. And with the underlying utility and as the adoption, as the regulation around the world becomes more friendly to it, it's going to be used even more. I mean, the transaction fees are so cheap today. I mean, really, I did a transaction today. As you know now, we pay out people in Bitcoins. So I was with our treasury department watching them do it. And it was like 8 cents to send $1,000. Now, if I sent that by bank wire, it'd be $30 plus.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know, I mean, it's fantastic in that sense. So, the Lightning Network has certainly has really turned Bitcoin around in that sense. On the other side, as miners, it's affected our rewards as well, because obviously before that's how we're paid. We're paid from the mining for the transaction fees. Now, you know, before it might have been $20. You certainly go back to December last year, some of the transaction fees are up to $50, which is really incredible. Which contributed to the miners. That's why we saw huge revenues as well. We had the price, and we also had huge revenues, the highest in Bitcoin history. But that's been resolved now. So as a miner, it's affected our payout significantly. But as a person that believes in the pay-to-pay, and I remember some months back, you actually produced the white paper of Bitcoin, and I would think 99% of people have never actually read it. And you produced the white paper of Bitcoin from Satoshi Nakamoto, which is 2009 or something like that. And it says there, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. It's a payment system. That's what it is. So it should be, first of all, it has to be secure, has to be transparent. It's decentralized, it's permissionless, and it has to have low transaction fees. Well, it has that now. It has everything, doesn't it? So in that sense, it's really working exceptionally well. But as a miner, yes, of course, we'd like to have more commissions and more earnings. But you know what? 50% return on my money, if that's sustainable, I'm happy with that. I mean, where else are you going to get that, to be quite honest? So, yeah, I think that's absolutely fine. You touched on earlier also, Keithy, regarding the internet. I just want to touch on this again. I mean, the internet's transformed the way that we live, hasn't it? It's been fantastic. And of course, people have expectation. They want things, instantly. And I think it's also a way to make a quick dollar. But you know what? The big scammers out there, I mean, these people are masters of what they do. They know what your emotion is. They know what we all want. They also use the internet to their advantage, and they're gonna, everything they sing, everything they put on there is going to be like, we are the best, we are the greatest, you're going to make yourself $1 million in the next blah, blah, blah. And of course, it's the easiest bait you could ever have. It's the old trick, isn't it? And people come in. So again, just a caution to everyone, based on statistics of the number of ICOs that have failed already in 2017, it's your money. You've worked many, many, many years. I'm sure you worked for 40 years, Keithy, to have the money and wealth where you are today, and many other people, of course. So don't let it out of your hands easily, okay? Make sure you think before you actually pull the trigger and send funds to someone. Know who's behind the company. Many of these companies don't even show who they are, in one sense. And this is just a caution because I particularly do not like companies that rip people off, to be quite honest. I mean, it's one thing that will get me into the ring. Is that, and we've never been that way. In fact, you can Google us. We've been around for 10 years. Everyone's always been paid. Their product's always been delivered. Yes, sometimes there's been hassles, but in the end, they've got what they wanted, and things have always been resolved. Let's just touch on quickly, the payouts on Bitcoin. I know Claudia deals a lot with this with members around the world, and you do too, Keithy. It has been resolved. It's a complex issue. Now we're getting very close to having this resolved. Primarily, I know that you've been paid on your blockchain. This is really a true authentication. If you've been paid, look at your wallet, because Genesis pushes the payments from the blockchain directly to your wallet, and that's really the real deal. What has been the issue is their server communicating to our server, and of course your back office has not been updating. So if you log into your SGG module, crypto module, the first thing you're going to see, boy, I haven't been paid. And of course we panic, and it's an easy place to go there because it's transparent and you can see what your daily payouts actually are. Well, that's the thing that's not working at the moment, and they're getting close to resolving that and getting in the next this week. I want to get this finalized. It's been dragging on for a couple of weeks now, but it's a much bigger issue than what we actually expected. But just know that you log into your back office, into your wallet, I should say, your crypto wallet, see what your payments are. If something is not right, please do send a ticket to contact@swissgoldglobal.com. Do not send it to support@swissgoldglobal.com because that is no longer supported. There's too many spams and things. So if you send a ticket to support@swissgoldglobal.com, you won't be responded to, okay? Send it to contact@swissgoldglobal.com. Do a screenshot, be very specific of what you want, put your ID number in there, use the same email address that is registered in your account because it makes it much easier for our support people to actually search things. We have people using different email addresses. Of course, we can't, and people have the same names. There's many Keithys. There's only one Keithy, but there's many Keithys by name in the system, of course, and that sometimes makes it difficult for our support people to actually search. So just think about that. It makes our life a lot easier too to be able to correct that. So that's the update regarding the payouts on the crypto module.
All right. Okay. Yeah, Connie just is working now in the back office, so I'll just quickly go to mine, see my transaction history. I haven't got any updates today, Connie, so maybe you're a bit more up to date than I am. I'm getting my Ethereum payments showing every day. It's the 30th today. I got the Ethereum payment yesterday. I'm very, very close to getting paid out at 004 for Ethereum, so that's pretty exciting. But I am getting Bitcoin every day to my wallet in Australia. That is good. Here we go. I've got a couple of questions. I'll go to Billy. If Bitcoin used the US dollar for value, what would happen to Bitcoin if the dollar crashes? Where would Bitcoin get its dollar value from in the future? We're just referring it to what one Bitcoin is worth 9,300 American dollars. What if the American dollar crashes, is what Billy's saying. I guess it's the value is it's in Australian dollars too. It's a little bit more in Australia. It's like 11,000 whatever. So it'd just be to the local currency, wouldn't it?
Well, it's a great question. I mean, if the US dollar, was to crash, should soften off, which it has a little bit, of course, even right now. It's good for gold in one sense, and I think it actually could be good for Bitcoin as well. It just means you're going to need more US dollars to actually buy a Bitcoin, possibly. But I mean, it's just an exchange rate. One Bitcoin is valued to an exchange rate of $1 US. One Bitcoin has a certain exchange rate to euro. One Bitcoin has a certain exchange rate to Aussie dollars, Canadian dollars, Naira in Nigeria, shekels in other parts of the world, pesos, I think they call them. Claudia can correct me on that. But it's just the currency. But I think if Bitcoin, so this because it's a new currency, it's going to be interesting to see how it does perform into harsh economic conditions. Primarily because it's a limited supply, because it's more like a gold 2.0, I would expect it to perform more strongly because it's going to become in more demand. Why would you want to hold a currency that's losing value such as US dollars? You're going to look more of a safe haven, aren't you? Maybe it's going to be another currency, fiat currency, or maybe it's going to be more like a cryptocurrency such as Bitcoin or a bit of gold or silver. So that's sort of my take on it. But proof will be in the pudding, won't it?
Yeah, exactly right. We've got another really good question, and I'll throw to Claudia for this one. Charles has said, hope you're all fine, which we are. We're always fine, Charles. We're always happy, positive, and moving forward. Is it possible to explain why we're living in a period of low Bitcoin mining contract earnings? Like 100 terahash makes less than €800 per month. And with the high difficulty rate, we just have to be patient. Is that what's the basic situation at the moment, Claudia? Is it why the earnings low, and is it to do with the difficulty rate or just the Bitcoin combined, or is it a bit of everything?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that the earnings are low. Again, what Bill said before, I mean, you're still making a 50% return in a year. You just have been probably bought into the idea when, of course, you got like in 3 months your return on investment back, basically. And so people, but this was an unexceptional, crazy time. I mean, I believe Bitcoin again, like I believe it's going to go back up to those rates, like up to 15,000, up to 18,000, 20,000, God knows how higher it will go. And then we get again all those big commissions back. But that's why I always say, the Bitcoin mining rewards is really, really great. We have been super blessed with it. But don't forget the networking idea. Don't forget the sharing model. Don't forget on that, because there's so many people, again, which have no idea about Bitcoin, which have no idea about Bitcoin mining, which don't know. And if you help those people, find other ways to generate extra additional income, and you get rewarded through building the network on that, well, you're going to get also payment in dollars, which could then help you pay off more debts or live a better lifestyle, and then you can diversify something into gold. So people forgetting that a little bit. This is what I have been doing all the time. And see, the point of that is as well, look, that I'm traveling all around the world, and what I see so often in this short living world now, in this internet and Facebook, and they're putting up a link and hoping somebody to join or whatsoever. It is really not about that. Again, don't forget, our model is what? The network business is what? Networking. So you don't build a relationship in a day. It's going to take time. You're gonna will it, and it's we're in a helping business. So if you help people, that's going to take time, that they get the confidence, that they learn the skills, and so on. But you're going to get rewarded over and over for that, because once you help the person and once you educated the person, then they will stick with you. That's really the point. They will stick on, they will stick with you, and that means you both basically win. But yeah, so I would again, like, we have a great return. Yes, it's not like it was like in November, December, and January. I believe it's going to go up there. Sure, difficulty rate, it will go difficult. It will be more adaption, as Bill said, in the market, and more people will eat from that cake, and the lesser your payout will be. But again, you know, see, if we really believe in Bitcoin, and not just about the money we make, if we really believe on the fundamentals, on the core business of Bitcoin, and again, remember, why did we found Swiss Gold Global? Why did Bill found Swiss Gold Global? Because the fiat currency system is basically totally ripping people off. In just easy words, it's ripping people off. People don't understand. They trade their heart, you know, their time, basically really hard working for something which is constantly losing value. Okay, and that is why gold and silver has always been a safe haven. That's why the company was founded, to help people understood that they are living in a ripped system. Why was Bitcoin invented? To help people understand they're living in a ripped system. It doesn't work. It's failing. It's failing them. And so I believe we should not so much focus on the money we are going to make. Yes, we need the money. And that's why you get that through networking. But we should focus on, well, the usability of Bitcoin. Do I use Bitcoin on my daily basis? Do I actually book a flight with? Do I actually book a hotel room with? How much Bitcoin can I accumulate in the fastest time, basically? Those things are more important. Because at the end, and I'm not so worried about if dollars crash as well. Yes, we will see then what the Bitcoin will do. But it's about the usability. As more people using Bitcoin and accumulating Bitcoin, as more the adoption will grow, as more, of course, people will come into the market, as more benefit it will be there for us. There's no question about it. That's my take, my point of view. So I hopefully answered that question.
You did spot on as usual, Claudia, and Charles has responded exactly. I understand. Okay, thank you for the description, Claudia, and it's spot on. I guess people do focus on the money side because of that three months of unbelievable returns. That was a talk of the town. Bitcoin was a talk on everyone's lip. Are you into Bitcoin? Because the price went from $1,000 in a year to $20,000. So it was the big hot topic. And now that it's dropped down to 9,000, we're down to 6,800 here, 6,700 American. Now it's climbed back up to over 9,000. It's not so much the topic of conversation because most people still don't understand it, of how it can be used with the blockchain technology to make life easier for everybody, wherever you are on the planet. So I guess from a Swiss Gold Global point of view, what both you and Bill are trying to say to us as members that, hey, listen, we started Swiss Gold Global in 2008 with a couple of reasons, and that's to help you. One, first off, with gold and silver, we believe that if you put little bits away, and we can do $25 worth of gold or silver in small purchases into your back office and have it stored up there. Just when you have $25 spare, you can just put that away in the gold and have it sitting there. And if your dollar value goes down, you still have those ounces of gold sitting there. The price of gold will go up. Then Bill said, well, okay, well, here's another opportunity to help people with cryptocurrency through Bitcoin mining, Litecoin, Dashcoin, all the rest. So I just talked about Bitcoin Cash, which Genesis have touched on. And I might get you to explain that, Bill, in a second. With the adding of their contracts now, we've got gold and silver and got now mining contracts. And then what I think a lot of people are forgetting, Claudia, what you rightly tell me every week or every time I speak to you, is that you can combine all this and talk to people and get them to join your team as an affiliate. And for your $50 US per month, you get $12.50 in a mining contract automatically. The rest is paid to affiliate fees. And if you build a team, you can get your income greatly enhanced by in US dollars through the affiliate program of building a team and helping them understand how they can build generational wealth. Then they can, once they understand that, and using Facebook or video or Twitter or Instagram or these other things, or what I'm doing on Wednesdays, I'm doing a coffee get together in Brisbane here. I'm doing one in the morning at 10:30 for people who can make the morning. Then I'm doing a 7:30 at night coffee hangout for people who can't get there during the day. So on the same day, I'm doing 2 coffee hangouts in Brisbane, so people can come along face to face and say, "Hey Keith, I haven't seen you for a little while, been about a month. How's things going? What's happening here? What do you reckon? What Bill reckon? What have you spoken to him about?" People who can't get onto the webinars or watch them, the face-to-face part of it comes in really, really well. But I also run a meetup group, which is I pay $25 a month to actually run a meetup group myself, which is a worldwide formula meetup. And you can just search for a meetup in cryptocurrency in your local area and just go along to one of their meetings for free and meet people there and talk to them who are already interested in the area you're in and start a conversation with them. "Oh, hi, have you bought any Bitcoin, a Litecoin, a Dashcoin?" "No." And they'll ask you, "What do you do?" "Well, I've actually got mining contracts. I've got computer power contracts." Most people say, "Well, how does that actually work?" Because when I've been to meetings, people say, "Oh, I've heard about Bitcoin mining," but they get the idea it's one of those pickaxes behind me there that's physically digging. You have to do something physical. But I know it's cloud mining. We have a company, Swiss Gold Global, in partnership with Genesis, that do all the work for us. They have the computers. They run the expertise. They've got the technicians making sure those computers are humming away and mining Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dashcoin, Zcash, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And as Bill keeps saying to me, "What do you do, Keithy?" Well, so I do absolutely nothing except buy. So telling people this story face to face, people will ask you very, very quick questions that you can answer within 30 seconds to a minute, as opposed to typing out ad nauseum on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, trying to, someone asks you, "How does that work?" And you have to type for 3, 4, 5 minutes. And then they say, "Well, I don't understand that. Can you explain it?" And then you type for another. And all of a sudden, there's 30 minutes have gone. But in a meeting, face to face, you can cover everything in 5 minutes to get people excited and a basic understanding of how the business works. So what Claudia said is very, very true. We do lose focus in that area, which I believe people watching should say, "Well, okay, this week I'm going to make a decision. For $50 a month, I can become an affiliate, and I can go to 2 meetings a week for the next 3 months and focus on talking to as many people as I can and build just a small team of 10 people who become affiliates." Then my affiliate fees are just don't have to worry about them. They're all taken care of just by finding 10 people in the next 3 months. And that might go into your local coffee shop and give them a card and say, "Do you ever go to Bitcoin meetings?" Like a conversation starter like that. There's so many ways you can approach people. Where's my wallet here? I've got my Bitcoin card. So I always ask, "Can I pay with Bitcoin?" And that starts a conversation. Or, "Do you accept Bitcoin here?" And especially with people 20 to 30, half of them have got no clue what Bitcoin is. The other half get quite excited about Bitcoin, but they don't understand mining. They said, "Oh, are you a trader?" I said, "No, I'm not a trader." "Oh, do you just buy Bitcoin?" "No, I don't buy Bitcoin. I buy computer power contracts. Then somebody gives me Bitcoin every day." When I say someone gives me Bitcoin every day, they go, the old brain says, "Oh, but what do you do?" I say, "I don't do anything. Someone just gives me Bitcoin every day." How does that work? Bang, they're interested straight away of how they want to understand how it works, because as Bill said and Claudia said, people are working for not so much. I said you. So what did you say? What was your terminology, Claudia, for the governments or the fix? What did you say? What was that word you said?
You mean the RIP system?
Yes, the RIP system. Yes, right. Because the banking industry is under heavy investigation here in Australia right now, this week. And the latest thing today or yesterday was coming out that people were asking the question, will these bank executives or from the building society or the investment companies like the AMP in Australia, will they be taken to jail for what they've done? And that's selling policies and investment portfolios where there's no product and people giving their money. They were selling policies to dead people and taking money from their estates and all sorts of stuff going on. People are now asking, will the banking industry overview, when the government gets the industry under the microscope fully in an investigation, will they be tried and put in jail for what they've done? People are sort of waking up now that it's hit major headlines that the banks that we do need the banks, as Bill says. I can't I operate my card here, I tap and go, and I pay things online and do all this thing, but I use this 50% and I use this 50%. So it's 50-50 at the moment. I use this for doing a lot of stuff. In the future, are we going to go cryptocurrency 70%, 30%? And then will we get to a stage in 5 to 10 years from now when it's 80% crypto with all different top 15 coins that everybody uses around the world, and the banks, we only use maybe 15 or 20%? Is the ratio going to change over the next 5 to 10 years of crypto, the banks? Because we're finding out the banks haven't been truthful, Bill. They're not telling us the truth of what they've been doing. I don't want to get you started, Bill, but you deal with the banks all the time, so maybe give us a bit of an insight of what your thoughts are, crypto v the banks in the next couple of years, mate.
Well, it's a great example, Keithy. I mean, yeah, I think I don't see crypto replacing banks, okay? But I think we need to work together with them. I think that's really important, and there's no question about it. On the regulatory side, banks need to be cleaned up. I mean, people talk about, if you talk to a person who has not been involved in cryptocurrency, you mentioned Bitcoin, they'll think that you're involved in maybe arms dealing or drug dealing, and this what criminals actually use. I remind them, of course, that as I've spoken before on this webcast, on this hangout, of course, is that just JP Morgan have received like $30 billion worth of fines since 2008. HSBC received billions of dollars of fines because they actually were laundering the cartel's drug money. And they even changed the teller windows to be able to accept suitcases full of cash. I mean, really. So, I mean, how did criminals do this in the past? There was no cryptocurrency. So, criminals, it was a cash environment. We know that. So I don't really buy into that, we've got to be careful of cryptocurrency because it's going to, the criminals are going to actually thrive in this particular network. They thrive anyway in the cash environment. But the banks, I think, the average banker that I deal with is a good person. They have their job, they work hard, and they want to do the right thing. But I think it's a much higher level systematic issue than what it is on a let's say a retail level that we deal on the corner bank in one sense, to be quite honest. I think most of these people are good people and they work long hours and want to do their best. They want to put bread and butter on the table as well. And there's, if you're a small business owner, even if you're a retiree, their local bank may not be always the smartest place to have all your retirement wealth, of course, but certainly they provide a good service globally. I mean, let's face it, I can travel anywhere in the world and I can pretty much tap and pay for my cappuccino or whatever it might be. I mean, it's a simple world, but you can also do that now with Bitcoin, as you pointed out. So I think the banking system will actually, well, they're realizing that there's a shift, and I think people are also waking up and demanding a shift. The millennials, the younger people as well, realize that things are not right, and the bank fees and this system. Why would you want to have a centralized system where there's a decentralized system that I can transfer $1,000 for 8 cents or $50,000 for 8 cents? I mean, it's just a bit of a no-brainer trend. So where it all evolves, I think it's a very, very positive thing. Just to finish up on my side, because I know we're on the hour now, Claudia spoke about the payouts. There's been a lot of questions regarding the crypto payouts. I think there's a question we have to ask ourselves: what would you rather want? Would you want a much faster, much higher payout for a short time and then let it collapse and no longer exist, is what lots of Ponzi's actually do? or would you rather have something that's more sustainable? Now, me personally, I'd rather have a long-term sustainable system where constantly I know I'm getting rewards, and as the utility, as the ecosystem of Bitcoin's greater adopted around the world, we'll see, as Claudia said, the price increase. Okay, the difficulty rate will increase as well, but that's okay. Increased adoption means increase in price, demand and supply in one sense, but in between there you'll have volatility, of course. So I think this comes back to understanding what we actually have here and having a longer term view. Be aware, again, I always say, manage your risk, but a 50% return on your for every dollar you're putting in within a year, I mean, really, come on, that's a fantastic return, to be quite honest. I mean, okay, if you came in for the month of maybe October, November, December, maybe the very beginning of January, you just couldn't believe what was really happening then. But that was truly unique. And as I said, that was because also the transaction fees are at the highest levels. You could pay $40, $50 for a transaction of to send money in Bitcoin. That's no longer the case. That's been resolved. So, but this all has an effect on the payouts. So we're very confident in the system, in the ecosystem of Bitcoin. The mining side is really a critical part of the whole, how it all operates. So as you and I, as miners, yeah, we're investing in it, and I think it's got longevity as the adoption increases. I mean, we're going to be building out mining farms, so we're certainly investing in there. So that's our intention.
Yeah, great, awesome, Bill. Well, okay, well, thanks very much, you guys. I guess members have got 4 things to focus on. That's gold and silver, cryptocurrency. We've got our ICOs coming, and the affiliate, being an affiliate and spreading the word and using those 4 opportunities within Swiss Gold Global to build your wealth, build your business, and build your income. And all you've got to do is talk to people like Claudia does, and you too can get the situation where you can just fly anywhere you want, speak to wherever you want, go wherever you want, and enjoy your life to your expectations. So the opportunities here with Swiss Gold Global, 10 years in business and not going anywhere, and lots of opportunities for the second half of 2018 coming up. Fantastic, Claudia, to have you back in Europe as well. Back for the summertime, and thousands of people to talk to. So thank you very much for coming on today. It's fantastic to have you on always. Anything big planned this week? Any big meetings anyone in Europe needs to go to see?
Yeah, I actually have, well, I don't have right now big meetings this week, but I do have also on the internet. I actually do every Wednesday the Nigeria hangout. I'm gonna do a Spanish hangout. I'm doing today I have another one with Latin America. Yes. So no, we have like a lot of hangouts and things like that, catching up. And there was a meeting last weekend in Birmingham, which was great and successful. It was wonderful people who are hosting the meeting there. But yeah, no, we look forward to do lots of live events very soon, and we're going to inform you about that. Okay, great, awesome. Thank you, Claudia. Bill, always fantastic to have you on. I know you're going to be travelling, so thanks very much for your time today. Really appreciate it, and the input as always. Where are you off to this week? You're back to Dubai, you said, yeah?
Yes, back to Dubai, Keith. Now, you did ask me another question before about Bitcoin Cash. Let's touch on that to Dubai. Next week's hangout, if you like. Primarily, we'll be also implementing Bitcoin Cash. It just came to me to remind me of that, but because we want to get this back office, the IT director will get the Bitcoin Cash organised for our members, so they have another option as well.
You just dropped out a little bit there. Could you just repeat that, what you said there, Bill?
No, mate, only say it once.
It's a boomerang. You've got to come around and say it again, mate. Come on.
No, what I was actually saying, Keithy, is that you mentioned Bitcoin Cash, and that will be developed. But our developers right now we really have to get this server issue organised or corrected, so our members' back offices, the transaction history is correct. Once that's done, we'll redirect some of the resources to get the Bitcoin Cash implemented into the system for our members as well.
So that's just to be paid out in Bitcoin Cash from any contracts you have, not Bitcoin Cash contracts being available. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, I believe so. But I haven't really put my head into this space. You'll have to check with the team. But it was interesting last night. I saw a report come out also regarding Bitcoin Cash, where there's a group lawsuit. I think there's 600 people now wanting to sue Bitcoin.com and Roger Ver regarding Bitcoin Cash in one sense. So there's a bit of a pushback in that too, because they believe he's deceiving the people in one respect. And of course, these hard forks, there's many opinions about it, but it's free money for these people in one respect. It doesn't really do the system any justice, but sometimes there's no justice when it comes to making money or the quick buck, you know.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. All right, Bill, appreciate your time as always. Thank you, Claudia. Thank you, Bill. Fantastic to have you on, and everybody have a positive week. 4 things you can do inside the business. Just get back to the person who invited you to this hangout and have a good chat to them about how you can increase your generational wealth within inside this company. 10 years old, going strong. We'll see you on the next one next week. Have a fantastic, positive week, folks. See you soon. Bye-bye.